Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Beggars Canyon Boys. Episode 18, I believe. We're finally to our big adult episode, right?
You feel changed?
Yeah, I feel kind of like a man. I feel ready to fight for my country, maybe even fight for my planet, or fight for my fight for a galactic republic, perhaps.
I want to be on the side of the Sith.
All right. Well, that is a good episode today of Beggars Canyon Boys, and we will see you guys next week.
Whoa, okay. That's it?
Yeah, just don't say that kind of thing. No, hey.
I'm kind of like the Sith guy. That you know what I've recently learned, though? I guess there's like a bunch of people who like genuinely like the dogma of the Sith or something, or like, yeah, like we like the authoritarian aspects of them. They're cool.
Yeah, I guess there would be some people who would feel that. I don't know. I feel like that's just the same kind of like intentional, what do you call it when you're just like disagreeing with someone for the sake of
Just being a contrarian.
being contrarian. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay, that's maybe good to hear. Like, because I also, I just see things quickly as I'm trying to scroll past spoilers on like Blue Sky or whatever.
But hey, I'm sure there are some people who genuinely believe that the Sith teachings are the way to go. And I think that's pretty stupid, but I also, I can understand, like, I guess in a similar way that a lot of people maybe become very disillusioned with, quote unquote liberal American politics and everything. Like, oh, it's all just talk, and they're not actually radical, and they're just like a part of the system as much as anybody else is, but they just pretend like they're progressive and blah blah blah. I feel like people map that onto the Jedi as well, which we have talked about with some of them, a lot of like do as I say, not as I do, some hypocritical stuff, some authoritarian dogmatic pragmatism coming from the Jedi as well. So I do understand like the disillusionment of the Jedi and being like, oh, well, that's like too like authoritarian. I'm going to go to like the counterculture side of things. That's more about like the individual and like, why should I not be like proud of myself and that kind of thing,
Okay, space centrist. That was my takeaway.
I would say I'm on the extreme Jedi scum. Yeah, they call it what, like the.
As in, you are Jedi scum, or you think the Jedi are scum?
No, I don't know. I was trying to just think of an equal term for just like a radical extremist on the light side of the Force, though. Don't worry.
Sure. Okay, that's okay. And I only bring this up because I heard that, and I was like thinking a little bit in my head. I was like, oh, I feel like I have on the podcast been a big advocate of the dark side because I think they're cool and all. But I don't want to associate it with like if there's any like incel culture of like we love the dark side and their authoritarianism. Like that's not me. That's not me.
Well, I'm sure that does exist like somewhere. I'm sure there are people who feel that way just because there's people who feel every way about everything. But at least to my knowledge, that's not like a big community I've seen online or anything.
I just don't know what I'm saying, guys. I'm a little Star Wars baby sometimes. I don't know the full context of things. Come on.
Don't worry. There's no shortage of incel communities in Star Wars.
Okay, now I am worried.
No, I said don't worry.
Well, opposite effect.
Well, so this will be our before we get into the content of today, I just want to say this will be our Christmas episode, right? Or it can be the Christmas episode if we want it to be the Life Day episode.
Okay, you've explained that very mysteriously. It's like Schrodinger's Christmas episode. What's going on here, Jackson?
If you want it to be, yeah, because and I'm getting deja vu, so I'm sorry. I feel like we may have had this exact conversation before, but I do right next to me have your Life Day gift. And I can present it to you now if you want. We can turn video on for a second on Zoom and show you your gift if you want, or we can wait.
Dude, I can't say no to that. Of course, I want to see. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
I will show it to you, and yeah, just for full disclosure, we usually do these in person, but on the day that we were supposed to record, Ryan just fled the country and texted me like, I'm actually on an airplane to a secret island right now, so I'm going to have to do virtual recordings for a little bit.
Hey, Jackson, you've said too much about my location already, okay? Now they know I'm somewhere in the Pacific.
Yes,
Joe, no! They didn't know which ocean.
I feel like you want them to find you. Okay, I will be right back.
Okay.
Actually, I think I can.
I actually have something to show you too. I got a new haircut.
Thank you. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I think you'll be pretty excited.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my video on.
Okay, me too. Try not to have the jaw drop. Yeah.
Oh.
Just to describe it, Jackson's jaw is straight up hit the floor.
Yeah. Cartoons, my tongue rolled out like a great scroll. Yeah, this isn't much or anything. It's just a little Life Day happy, really. And I just figured, since you were so gracious to go on this Star Wars journey with me and presumably continue on it unless, things go really bad this episode. I wanted to show my appreciation and, return us to something that is probably all but forgotten in today's comics. It's a t-shirt. It's a little t-shirt. Hopefully you like the color. It's a little army green.
Yeah. Okay. So to describe it to those who can't see, which is everyone listening, I guess, only I can see. This is a t-shirt that says Endor Forest Summer Camp. And okay, I may need help with the characters here. Is that Wicket in the front?
It looks to me like we got Wicket in the middle. We got Chief Chirpa over here. And then we got Tebow.
Dude, you know, I really appreciate it. Thank you, first of all. But and also, this will be my first Star Wars shirt. I don't think I've, or even piece of Star Wars clothing, man. I don't have any like little wristband or hat or anything Star Wars. So now I can go out and I can rep, and especially I can rep my favorite little alien race from Star Wars, freaking Ewoks, man.
Hell yeah. Also, I'm so sorry I was wrong. It's actually Paplu here. It's Paplu.
Who the heck is that?
Paplu, the good friend of Wicket and Tebow. They're the three kind of... You remember they all get like arrested and sent to Ewok jail in the cartoon for a second?
Sure. I don't,
okay.
but
well,
you know.
It's those three guys.
I'm sorry. It was a very nice gift. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It says established 83, which I get it because the movie came out in 83, but actually it should say established like 5 BBY or 5 ABY.
True. And we have like the years laid out for us of when things happen thanks to the timelines in these books, actually.
4 ABY. Jesus. God, I gotta freaking
Dude, what are you doing?
Okay. Well, that's all. This is waiting for you when you get back to old sunny California. But I'm sure it's very sunny and tropical wherever you are too. Whatever island you're eating coconuts on.
Okay. You don't eat coconuts. You drink them.
You can eat the meat in them too.
Okay.
All right. I've turned my video off.
Just so everyone knows, I also just turned my video back off.
Okay. I can't look at you while I talk about...
He gets lost in the baby blues, folk. That's true. Folk, singular, one person. Can we get a little moment of silence for Master Odon who was savagely struck down by Exar Kun?
Yeah, we can.
That you just interrupted it.
No, I was about to start it. I'm sorry.
I already started though. Whatever.
Sorry.
He died for nothing, I guess.
No. He didn't die for nothing, Ryan.
Well, you know what? He kind of did. Of everyone in the series, he died for nothing, man. He had the Sith holocron and he just gave it up.
Yeah, you're correct about that.
I'm sorry, I'm getting way ahead of like anything though. My apologies.
No, yeah, we should say what we're talking about today, I guess. So today on the Beggars Canyon Boys, it is another all comic books episode. And actually, that's not true.
Yeah, the game.
Okay. Today on the Beggars Canyon Boys, it is a mostly comics episode as well as one video game. We are going to be talking about Tales of the Jedi, The Sith War, another mini-series. This one fully written by Kevin J. Anderson. No more Tom Veach help on this one, because Tom Veach was so busy with the spectacular Empire's End, a 2-issue finale to the Dark Empire trilogy. Then we also checked out one little Boba Fett one-shot issue. This is the first of a few little Boba Fett one-shot comics that will come out. This was the Bounty on Bar-Kooda. Then the video game is Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire. If you couldn't tell by the title, it's actually a sequel to Rebel Assault, the game that we talked about a few episodes ago. Ryan O'Ryan, my gracious wingmate and co-host, what would you like to talk about first?
Man, I'm a little split here. I want to get into Sith War, but I almost feel like we can knock out the two, like the Jabba comic and the Boba Fett comic real quick here. Mm-hmm. So maybe we start there.
Sure, yeah. Oh yeah, did you read like that last Jabba the Hutt comic of the little 4 one-shot thingies?
Oh yes, I did. I read that one now. I guess that was what you talked about last time that I was supposed to read, maybe, but it was on our roadmap for today.
Yes, it was. I didn't update it on there, but what did you think about that? We'll do that one first, since that was like bridge from last episode.
Well, now I guess I'm thinking you explained it to me last episode, but I guess now that I've experienced it, I do think it's just very same as what we talked about before. They're simple, but they're very fun, and I like the ongoing bit that ends here of what is his name? Bop?
Bib Fortuna?
Yeah, Jabba's right-hand man who's just trying to like betray him, but it never works out, and he ends up like proving his loyalty further. Very fun.
Yeah. It's fun. Jabba wakes up like right after he saved his life. He's like, oh, thank you.
You know what's so random in this though, and it felt so not Star Wars to me. It felt Dr. Seuss-esque.
Yeah. I could see that. Like a violent Dr. Seuss book.
Especially with the little once the droid skin on that woman like faded off, and like all the little weasel things that were wearing shirts like started attacking. Yeah. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah.
I was like, what is going on? Why did they dress them up beforehand? Like those are absolutely like just t-shirts, like little t-shirts they're wearing. What's going on here? As those things like rip apart Jabba.
Yeah. No, I guess those guys are intelligent in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'm being real specious here.
No, you're good.
Little ferrets can wear shirts too. Clothe yourselves, little ferrets. I don't care. Do what you want, but you look like Dr. Seuss characters when you do it.
But it's funny because, like, oh yeah, they can dress up in clothes. Maybe they're intelligent, but also at the same time, like, they're not going to talk and they'll just be like slaughtered like rats.
Yeah. Although I will say about Star Wars as a whole, I do really like. We get like a lot of creativity in the weaponization of the world. Like obviously we see a lot of like technical stuff, but we also do get a lot of like, hey, this is a like animal life from a specific planet that we are like weaponizing, and that happens fairly often. It's cool. It's cool to see every time.
Yeah, like the Sarlacc pit and the Rancor and stuff. Jabba's like a eccentric collector of beings from around the galaxy and uses them just to like kill people for
Yeah,
entertainment.
or whatever those things were in the book trilogy, Heir to the Empire. I forget what they were called.
The Islamari.
Yeah, Islamari.
And the Dianoga, of course, and the trash compactor.
Oh, yeah. Man, I need some Dianoga pie right now.
Bro, Dianogas are complicated, intelligent beings. You don't want to eat one. That's like, it's like eating octopus, really.
I could go for some.
Wow.
Okay. Don't cancel me, folks. Don't cancel me, folk.
Okay, folk. Well, you want to talk about Bounty on Bar-Kooda real quick?
Yeah, man, this was cool. We finally got Boba Fett.
Excuse me.
Are you done?
Okay, please start your intro again. I'm sorry.
Let me do it authentically again. Yeah, man. This no, this was cool though. Genuinely, like finally Boba Fett not being incredibly like goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess goofy is in the eye of the beholder because he's a little like campy in the way he presents himself, and he's got his one-liners and whatnot. But it's fun. It works for him, and it's much better than him just failing everything.
Absolutely. I mean, his introduction in this comic is actually pretty badass and a really cool looking sequence of him chasing these guys through, some junkyard planet on speeder bikes. And man, what's the little twist that happens there? I forget. Oh, okay. So it's not like there's really any twist or anything. It's just they leave the speeder. The guys he's chasing like get off the speeder, and there's just an empty speeder. And they're like, "Oh, he fell for it. He's just chasing the empty speeder." Then they're like, "Be quiet. He can hear from across a planet." And then he just looks at him and blasts the guy through the chest, and then like epically like jetpacks. There's such good art of him like coming down to the ground from the jetpack and then like entering the bar and just his silhouette from behind and his helmet and jetpack and everything.
You'll never take me alive, Boba Fett. That's what the guy says, basically.
All good and well. And then he freaking blasts him.
So cool. I mean, that's cool. Come on.
It is cool. And it visually looks really cool, too. Like, Cam Kennedy, we should say, back on the art here. So Cam Kennedy, he did the first 2 miniseries of Dark Empire. John Wagner writing this. John Wagner, co-creator of Judge Dredd, so very successful British comic writer, or, pretty legendary, like British, comic writer for 2000 AD, that's what it's called. And he also wrote A History of Violence, the graphic novel that has a Cronenberg movie based off of it.
Oh, wow. It's a lot of work.
So yeah, he's a pretty busy guy. Has written a lot of stuff. But the plot of this here is that there's this hut, and he kind of becomes infatuated with this female hut that apparently is not a hut, is some other kind of hut, subspecies, I guess, that.
Yeah, this is deep Star Wars lore.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a little yucky, but it's kind of presented like, oh, they're like the dirty version, and we're like the nice, clean huts, and this hut is like.
Yeah, he literally like mentioned something of like a caste system, right?
Yeah. I mean, that is what it is. Yeah, essentially. And there's this guy Bar-Kooda that. Well, okay, so the hut is essentially like, oh, well, the dad will never let me marry the daughter. Maybe if I kill this pirate that's like harassing him, he will like me. And there's this pirate Bar-Kooda, so he hires Boba Fett to find this guy, this pirate. then the other part of this is that there's a magician named Magwit, and Boba Fett essentially uses this magician to get to Bar-Kooda. But Magwit is kind of like the main character of this.
And by the way, what a bold move to have him be such a pivotal character in this. Like,
Yeah, for real.
it works though. I think it works, but he's a strange guy, and it's a really weird character in the Star Wars universe, I think.
I agree. He's really funny, and it almost doesn't really like fit in with, the vibe of Star Wars as we know it. But I don't know. I feel like you see that little like 2000 AD like Britishy influence in there with this kind of character, because and sort of the style of humor of this book, because as soon as he finds out that Boba Fett is after him, he like fakes his own death during a show, and Boba Fett like shows up at the funeral, and they're all like, his family's all crying and like, you shouldn't be here, Boba Fett. And he just checks the body and sees that he's still alive, brings him back to life, and whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to just do a plot summary of it, but it's just
it is very funny because Boba Fett's kind of like Inspector Gadget pulling out his syringe of like whatever serum, brings this guy back from whatever comatose state he put himself in.
Yeah. And when the guy fakes his death, it's in the middle of his magic act while he has a bird like coming out of his mouth halfway. So it appears that like as soon as he hears the name Boba Fett, he just chokes to death on this bird in his mouth. And it's a pretty funny visual. I like the way the art presents it and everything.
Yeah, I also thought, as this is like not super important, but I thought it was funny the way they depicted the funeral, because it sort of just looks like a very earthly funeral in essence.
Yeah. Like a sort of like a German expressionist movie type of like gothic graveyard set. Very like Tim Burton-y, like miniature hill with like big gravestones all over it and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fun vibe though, and I like the Bar-Kooda character too. He's pretty fun. Like,
I love his design, dude.
yes, like a shark head guy.
Yeah.
He looks cool.
I don't know. It's another one of those things where it's like it almost doesn't work, but because of that, it works really well. It's a weird, like, fine line that they're on here.
The sort of central like crux of this, I guess, or the reason why Boba Fett wants this magician to get to Bar-Kooda is because the magician is famous for a trick involving this like magical ring hula hoop thing that people can. It's essentially just like a teleportation device. A low.
It's very Doctor Strange portal. That's what I kept thinking of the entire time.
Yeah, seriously, but it only works at like very small ranges. So like backstage at the show. So like he ends the show by his family like waving goodbye and disappearing into this ring, and they just come out of the other ring backstage. Everybody loves him for this trick, and then that's how Boba Fett kind of tricks Bar-Kooda. Bar-Kooda's like, oh, I got to figure out how this ring trick works. He goes in the ring, and then Boba Fett's waiting for him on the other side.
Yeah, dude, I like it because at first he's like, I guess because maybe we didn't say, what is this magician character's name?
Magwit, I think. Or Magwit.
Whatever it is. He was basically a slave to Bar-Kooda.
Yeah.
He was a slave to Bar-Kooda for a bit. And I guess during that time, he did performances for him, and Bar-Kooda was continuously perplexed by this trick.
Yeah.
Which is just really, it's funny to think about like some space gangster or pirate or whatever equivalent criminal he is, just like being so enamored by a magic trick.
Yeah.
That leads to his downfall.
I know, and he loves it so much that he can't bear to like kill this guy. I like that kind of. I can't think of where, but I know I've seen that before in plenty of things where sort of like a cowardly guy keeps himself alive around like very scary people because of like some thing that's popular amongst those guys or whatever.
Yeah, I like when Bar-Kooda's like, I'm just going to shoot you right here. And Madrid's like, no, don't shoot me. Why? Well, you could hang me from the ceiling till my body grows mold and I die of that. And it's like just trying to extend it out so they can do their little plot. And he's like, oh, okay. You always surprise me, Magwit. Okay, I'll indulge you.
It's a pretty good idea. It's like, Bar-Kooda, don't you know that you're in a story right now, and this is always how things go?
Nah, dude. With the size of Bar-Kooda's head, you'd be surprised at how tiny that brain is. I do just want to say that I thought the ending of it is very funny, where it just is Bar-Kooda served up on a platter, cooked to the hut lady. And it's just like, it's what you would imagine, like when they show a pig with an apple in its mouth on a platter, but it's Bar-Kooda's arm.
Yeah. And it's sort of, the implication is like, hey, I did you this favor. You probably don't want me as an enemy, right? Because look what happens to my enemies.
Yeah. How do you think Bar-Kooda tastes?
Probably like, man, it's got to be like really fishy, but like, thick though too. Like I've never eaten a whale or shark meat before.
Yeah, but I was gonna say maybe like dolphin equivalent. People do eat dolphin, although it's really bad for you. It's got mercury, a lot of mercury in it.
Yeah, and pretty insanely inhumane catching
absolutely.
practices.
Yeah. I'll read some more Boba Fett comics if they're in this vein. I'm just doing sort of cool one-shot missions.
Yeah, I know there are. I forget exactly how many, but I think at least like 3 more, like the Jabba the Hutt thing, like just 3 little one-offs.
But yeah, you said let's talk about the 2-issue one. What was it called?
Yeah, Empire's End.
Empire's End. Yeah. Man, the pacing on this was pretty wild, don't you think?
Holy shit! Yeah, it was really crazy, to be honest. As I expected, I did find in an interview with him that this was originally supposed to be 6 issues, and I mean, while you're reading it, it's like, yeah, like they're going through like what would probably be like a page and a half in like one panel.
But you know what? His other ones were a little too long and felt like nothing happened in them. So I like this one better, but I still think it's kind of it's got its faults. It's got its major faults.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely don't want it to be any longer. I could feel that there were moments it's like, oh, you probably wanted this to like linger or like play out in a slower pace, but like in no way was I like, oh man, I wish this was 6 issues. I wish I was reading this more. I'm so glad to be done with these, to be honest. They, like, the first time I read them, I guess I was just so mindlessly like excited about like, oh, like these cool art, like old Star Wars comics that tell something after the original movies and everything, like just the prospect of that being so exciting, and like rereading them, like this is probably the 3rd time I've read all these. I really dislike them now.
I know. I feel like the most fun part of them, honestly, is like all the little cameo mentions of stuff that happened in the Tales from the Jedi.
Yeah,
just being like, oh my god, that's Nomi Sunrider's great granddaughter. Like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
but then there's no real substance to it, but it's cool to see.
Well, yeah. So I was saying there's just something I screenshotted that's emblematic of the way that characters are handled, as well as just the super fast pacing of this. And it is the moment when Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious, is entering the Kira fortress, trying to, take the children of Leia, and he tricks Kira into that he's a weak old man and he needs help or whatever. There's a shot where it's just one shot, C-3PO at Leia and the kids, and I feel like this could be like 2 pages of a comic book. but it's one panel, and it's C-3PO going, Mistress Leia, it says that a Master Arca of Arcania freed this planet Onderon from the dark side power of the ancient Sith. A great Jedi Knight named Nomi Sunrider learned the art of Jedi battle meditation from Master Arca and 2 other masters. Leia goes, yes, I remember their stories from the holocron. I hope someday to become a Jedi Master as Nomi Sunrider did.
Yeah, you're saying that's not sort of the best comic book writing you've ever seen?
I hope someday to become a Jedi. Like, yeah, we are. how many times has she's been training to be a Jedi, like, throughout this thing? Like,
yeah, she's had her lightsaber, like.
Really weird. Like, it's just like, okay, moving along through the story and saying what we feel out loud.
Yeah.
And
that's a great example of like the cameo nature of it too. Just like everything C-3PO says there too about Master Arca. It's like, okay, exposition machine. What the heck? Like, what are you doing? And it's not even like exposition. It's just like callbacks, but like really, really specific, poorly intertwined callbacks.
Well, it's because Leia's using battle meditation.
No, I know.
I know. I'm just joking. I agree. It's very dumb.
It is cool. I do like Leia using battle meditation. I think that's cool.
I agree. That is cool. What even happens in this shit?
Emperor Palpatine's like upset because his clone body is deteriorating, and he's like mad at Luke for ruining all the good ones. And then he tries to get into the baby. Is this where they've got their space missiles too that they were like launching off?
Yeah, the galaxy gun.
Yes, yeah.
You're right. I mean, it's just Palpatine trying to get into the kids' bodies.
Do you remember how this
Han Solo kill him?
Yeah, he does. And he's like, yeah, and Luke doesn't say anything, but maybe there's like a look or something that I missed that Luke gave him, but then Han's like, yeah, I know it's not the Jedi way, but sometimes it's it's so funny. It's like, oh yeah, okay. I guess sometimes awesome. You just got to shoot someone.
Hey, I mean, that's actually a good moment, I think. Because, yeah, it is like the Emperor. Like, who cares? Shoot him in the back. But also, it was like, no, don't kill him because his spirit will go jumping around into other bodies. But, you know, so our boy Empato Geos Brand takes his spirit in him and holds on to it.
Dude, what the hell? I was laughing when that happened. Like, is that why this character was introduced for this end game? For those who don't remember, he's the one who's just like a dude in a pressure cooker. Like, he looks like a golf ball, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty much all the like side characters here die, and Luke is just like, oh man, I guess I have to kind of start over with the Jedi Order. I had like 4 or 5 people here, but
yeah, I felt bad for the one Jedi who was like, I am a Jedi. It's in my people's nature to defend against evil like you. And then Palpatine just like immediately obliterates him with his electricity. It's like, oh, damn, that's sad.
Yeah, wasn't that the brother of like Luke's love interest in the last one?
Oh, was it? I couldn't remember who he was really.
Yeah, so hey, Palpatine is actually dead this time. Finally. And yeah, I think as far as this continuity is concerned, he's actually dead.
It would have been better if he stayed in the pressure cooker guy's body forever, and that was our new primary antagonist.
I mean, that would have been somewhat interesting, but I'm glad that they're moving on.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I do think it's funny that, like, within the body, like, does he die because there's just, like, so much hate and pain in Palpatine or something? And that's just, like, that's what kills him? Like, the physical trauma, or, trauma shock or something?
Well, he's already dying. He's dying because of, like, the lightning barrage from Palpatine. And he like jumps in the way because Palpatine's spirit is trying to get into baby Anakin Solo, and he jumps in the way of it and gets it in him while he's dying. And he's like, okay, I'm dying, but I'm going to use the Force to, like, while I'm dying, trap him in the Force and not be able to like jump bodies again when
Yeah.
I die.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, can I ask a question? And it may be a spoiler question, so you might not be able to answer this.
Okay.
But baby Anakin, does that get carried over? Like, or am I gonna not see this baby Anakin grow up?
There are a lot more stories with the kids, with all three of the kids.
Okay. Okay. So at least within the Dark
Mostly
Horse stuff.
books,
Oh, okay. Interesting.
mostly novels, but in Dark Horse stuff as well, for sure. Yeah.
All right. I was just wondering, like, if there's an actual plan to do anything with them past this. So that's interesting.
Yeah, they get a lot of play in the novels, for sure.
I guess that makes sense. The ones about, like, sort of starting up the Jedi school again.
Yeah, yeah. And then they also at this time are releasing like these junior novels for kids that are like the adventures of Jason and Jaina as like 7-year-olds. But they are featured in like the books for grown-ups too. Yeah. Um so the art in this one is not done by Cam Kennedy. It's done by Jim Bikey.
Dude, I love the art in this.
Me too. I was gonna say it was pretty like breath of fresh air there, and he's doing the coloring for it too. Like sort of just like a brighter version of what we were slightly more cartoony, like colored pencil-y version of what we were seeing before.
Yeah, I think it works much better.
But yeah, I'm pretty glad to be done with these, and now I'm, entering more. I have read a lot more of the Dark Horse comic books, but there's also like some blind spots for sure, and I think the content that takes place, or not canonically, but like timeline wise after this stuff is a bit of a blind spot for me. So I'm excited to check that out.
Okay, that's cool. Do you know if there's more Tom Veitch work ahead?
I do not.
Because, when it comes to Tales from the Jedi being great, I don't know how much of it's Veitch. I don't know.
Hey, guess what? I just looked it up. This is his last thing.
Okay. There's an urge within me to applaud, but that feels pretty rude to the man.
I know. And you know what? Before Kevin J. Anderson even got on here, he wrote the first two Tales of the Jedi miniseries all by himself.
And those were sick.
I really liked those a lot.
Yeah.
And those set up a lot of the ideas going forward that stay pretty cool. So I think as an ideas guy, as a world builder, he's a super creative guy with interesting ideas. And even in these Dark Empire things, no, I did not like them very much. But we also had a lot of little things that we were like, hey, that's cool. If you explored that more, maybe.
For sure. And who knows if this if this one extended to 6 issues would have made a big difference.
I think it might have been pretty boring.
Yeah. But I also think probably did him a little bit of a disservice being this quick.
Yes, no, for sure. I mean, he's trying to fit in his ideas for 6 issues into 2.
Maybe a happy 2 issues with maybe a happy 3 issues. Maybe that'd be good.
That's the end of the Dark Empire trilogy. We're glad we knew you, I guess, but I'm not applauding the end of Tom Veitch in Star Wars, but I am applauding the end of the Dark Empire trilogy.
Yes,
I'm pretty sick of it.
That's a good way to put it. I agree with that. No more of that.
No.
I'm done with it.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm just done with it.
But now, is there more Tales from the Jedi or no?
Yes, there is a little bit more.
There is? Oh my God, dude, I thought this was the last one. I'm excited.
They go back now to like even earlier times.
Yeah,
I believe.
That's cool.
But yeah, so that's a good, nice little segue into the last comic for today. This is Tales of the Jedi, The Sith War. This one is just written by Kevin J. Anderson, and pencils by Dario Carrasco Jr. This is the this is the real conclusion of all these miniseries so far, and it feels like, all the big. I mean, this is just like a big bombastic blockbuster. It's not as nuanced as some of the previous miniseries, but it's just like things happening, things wrapping up, big events every issue, and it's pretty freaking awesome.
It's a
I'm not
page
gonna
turner
lie.
for sure, dude. I was like, this one I devoured because I don't know. I just kept being like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next? And I love this idea of like the students versus the mentors. It's sad. It's really sad, but it's like really compelling to watch also. And just like seeing the mentors be so defeated, like as their Jedi students come to strike them
Yeah,
down, man, it kind of hits. It hits.
dude, I know. I mean, this one is genuinely sad. Like, I mean, I guess we're gonna talk about all 6 issues, so spoilers right away. But we got Ulick killing Kay here, and
Goodness, yeah.
and like the aftermath of that is really rough, and they make you sit with it in an uncomfortable, like realistic way, where the Jedi around him, like Nomi and the remaining survivors, are pretty like forgiving, all things considered, to
Yeah.
Ulick, because they know that, he's trying to turn over a new leaf and everything. But like there's very much this aspect of like, you're gonna like have to sit with what you did for your whole life, buddy. Like, nice job.
He's
I hope
so
you're happy.
frustrating a character though too, because the whole time they're like, "Oh, look, please stop." And it's like, "I'm your brother, please, please." And they're like, "Oh, we used to love each other, please." Nomi says, and then like he's like, "No, no, 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 no." And then finally, when he kills his brother, like 5 seconds after that, it makes sense that you would make the realization then of like, "Oh my God, I've gone so far. I've done this terrible thing. Look where I am." But it's also so
Yeah.
frustrating that it had to get to that point. I was like,
I
I
know.
wanted to shake the dude. I was like, "Are you serious? You went through all this destruction. You guys like flamboyantly sashaying around the Jedi Council, flipping them off and everything, just for you now to get it, dude."
Yeah, I know. It is so frustrating. And it's like, man, I mean, they keep saying like, dude, don't you realize that like the only thing that motivated you was Master Arca dying, and like that was a while ago now. Like, just stop. Just
And as we
you
went
can
over it,
stop.
kind of Master Arca's fault that he died there. He lost the plot a little.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is kind of that thing. I don't think it's quite as emotionally effective as it is with Darth Vader, but it's sort of that thing that they hit there of at this point he feels like it's snowballed too out of control, where he's like, well, now I'm just on this side. Like I can't go back. I've hurt too many people. I've done too many bad things. Like I can't stop now.
Man, yeah. You know what's funny too? I know there's a part where someone says this, but they're like, no, like Oleg's he's a good Jedi. He did so much for the Jedi's before he turned to the dark side. And I was like, did he? Did he really? Because he was kind of just a student who went off on his first mission, and that's kind of where like, and they did good on the first mission to some degree, but that's where he got sort of wrapped up in the dark side, and immediately everything sort of went downhill after that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see him do too many great Jedi deeds before he got caught up into evil, but I don't know. I mean, I guess their whole Onderon thing was pretty
I guess.
a
Yeah.
big deal. A bit, and they, along with Master Arca, thought that they, got rid of Exar Kun and everything like that.
You're right, man. I'm over
Or not.
here sipping on
Freed on
lemonade.
that, I'm sorry.
Sipping on lemonade over here, saying, "Oh, you only did one space war before you turned bad." I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't done a single space war.
Hey, it's okay, man. I don't blame you. Also, I'm jumping to the end of this too, but it's just like an interesting concept that's built up throughout the whole series, and then we see it used at the end, is the concept of like the ultimate light side power that
Yeah.
Odon is teaching Nomi Sunrider, where you can use the light side to completely block someone from the Force. You can like block their connection to the Force and put like a wall of light and take away their Force powers. And it's presented as like the last thing. It's not a dark side power, but it's kind of like pretty fucked up. And then Nomi uses that on Ulick at the end because she gets very angry when he kills Kay, and she's like, "Seriously, you didn't listen to us, and now it's like this. You don't get to use the Force anymore." And it's kind of a weird thing because she does it while she's angry, and everybody else is like, "Oh my god." But also like, I don't know. Maybe he needed to not have the Force anymore. Like,
Yeah, clearly this. I mean, he was too easily persuaded to the dark side, man. But it reminded me of have you ever seen like Legend of Korra, like a Mon taking away bending? I was like, oh, this seems like the Jedi equivalent. Like, take away your Jedi powers for good, your ability to
yeah,
touch the
yeah.
Force. But it is like I do like the immediate reaction from Nomi after she does that because I'm pretty sure she almost looks like horrified at what she did, and it's like you said because it's such a drastic measure that you really should be careful about taking, and it's just like ripping away. I guess in a sense, like it almost feels greater than like personal autonomy because there's like a spirituality connected to the Force, I guess. Dude, there was a lot of good stuff in here. You know what? Another little small character moment or story that I really liked. It was the red Jedi Master guy who looks like a lobster. What is his name?
Oh, Vodo?
Yes. It was Vodo's students who look like lions, the male and female one.
Yes, yes.
The little moment they have where, because they get split on their sides because the guy goes with Exar Kun and the gal goes with, all Nomi and all those folks. But the way when they meet back up again and she like slaps him across the face and scratches into him just like she did Exar Kun when they first fought.
Yeah.
And then like she's like, he is truly lost. There's like, and she just gives up on him there. I was like, man, there's a lot of like really emotional stuff you could really dive deeper into in this comic. And I like that the background is painted with all that too.
Yeah, you're totally right. Because like they don't really spend too much time with it in terms of, words on the page, I guess. But if you just wanted to like sit in that moment and just think about like, oh, okay, well, what has their history been throughout this? Like, we don't really even know that much about them, but like
They were lovers though. We do know that.
Yeah, for sure. But you're right. Like just through the art and through the way it's paced and everything, like it hits these emotional beats that allow it to be a little bit like deeper than what's actually, literally on the page, I guess.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to also call out my man, Master Thawne. Oh, wait, it's Thawne, right? Or Thrawn? Thawne.
Thawne.
Master Thawne in here. At the point when Exar Kun tells all his little disciples, go and kill your masters.
Mm-hmm.
Master Thawne he's not getting put down, okay? Some little Jedi students aren't going to take out goddamn Master Thawne, my man.
A lot of the other masters get cooked.
There's a montage of them dying.
Yeah, the title. The title of the issue is called like Jedi Holocaust or something.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Master Thawne, again, proves himself to be the ultimate badass. Even Master Vodo gets taken out here. How about this moment where Master Ood goes down? That was really cool. And there was in the Dark Empire 2, I remember saying that I thought it was stupid that, oh, like this Force tree that used to be an old Jedi Master, like that's cool, but why does he just have a pile of lightsabers underneath him? That actually gets like fully justified and explained in this miniseries, and I was like, wow, that's actually really pretty cool.
Yeah, egg on your face, man, because it was quite the noble sacrifice he makes there.
Yeah, I liked that moment a lot.
Also a big fu to Exar Kun there, which I loved, and being like, yeah, you might be able to defeat me, but you're not gonna win. Like, oh, so good.
Oh man, I something else that was it was slightly man. I just like feel like there's themes that they hit on in this that so I'm bouncing around all over the place, but it's just so full of cool moments. Something they hint at a little bit in Empire's End, but they really talk about it here. They talk about how uh scary it is to die in the dark side of the Force. And it's really justifies Palpatine's constant need to put himself into clone bodies and things like that. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, I guess we could have assumed that, living, or, the equivalent of a piece like that Obi-Wan and Yoda find in the light side of the Force, it's probably like going to hell or whatever, the equivalent of that if you're a Sith and you die, and you're probably just like tortured forever in the dark side of the Force. Uh, so it really justifies all these guys like super like paranoid, isolationist desires to like live forever and all this. And it, I don't know, such a cool nastiness to that where they're just like scraping, like they know their time is limited, but they're so terrified to die because they were selfish in their regular life, that their afterlife is going to be pretty awful.
Yeah. Oh,
So
dude, I love that actually, and I feel like that really, you're right. That does justify a lot of stuff. Even like thinking back to Freedon Nad trying to like resurrect himself. Basically, they don't go into it too much, but I can imagine like maybe he has been going through like his own version of hell or whatever that is in the dark side, and so like the little shimmers of connection he can make back to our real world. He's just trying to claw his way back, as many of these Sith are.
the final page of this book is some of the craziest shit we've seen in all of these comics, and it rocks. So this ends with all the Jedi after Ulick kills Kay. All the good Jedi are like, "Hey, we need to go stop Exar Kun. Like, he's too dangerous to be alive. So let's just go kill him," essentially. And they go to his base on Yavin 4. Exar Kun is like, I can't defeat the Jedi, so I'm just going to do this crazy ritual and burn everything and destroy a great fire across Yavin 4 and whatever. And, they say, oh, he's dead, and they leave. Anyway, the epilogue of this, well, part of it, we can talk about the Mandalorian stuff later, but part of the epilogue, Ulick is, 2 years later trying to figure out like how he can reconnect with the Force. He's turned his life around, blah, blah, blah. He's on a ship called Kay's Dream. Oh, his
Yeah.
brother that he killed. He goes back to Yavin 4, and he goes to the edge of the temple, and he's like, man, if I could connect with the Force, it would probably be here, but I feel nothing. And then it goes to just like black, but Exar Kun's face kind of popping out of this blackness, screaming at Ulick like, please, please, I'm in here, like, help me. But Ulick is not connected to the Force, so he can't hear him at all. And it just like shows that Exar Kun is just being like having his soul tortured in the dark side.
Beautiful
for all
page
the
to
bad
end it
stuff
on,
he
man.
did.
Oh,
I know, it's haunting.
I loved it. That's what you get for killing Master Vodo. I liked him.
Yeah, bro. And you and he's such a bad dude too, because he really didn't have like any bad stuff happen to him. He's just like one of these assholes, selfish, like curious guy.
Yeah, he just got arrogant because he was good at his Jedi training. Like, dude.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, I'm bored with Jedi stuff. I want to learn Sith stuff."
And by the way, when he took out Master Vodo, just so it's known, Master Vodo only had a staff again. Master
Yep.
Vodo, get a lightsaber, dude.
Well, I almost think, if you can believe this, that Master Vodo is supposed to be like the Master Yoda of these books, and
Pacifist.
Master Yoda just has a stick.
Well, yeah, okay. That's fair. I just,
and never has a lightsaber.
I wanted him to have a little better odds there. Hey, how about that Alima death?
Alima?
That was Ulic's girlfriend, basically.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome scene, and contrast between her death and also the guy who dies at the same time, who I was talking about earlier, who's like the lion guy. Because in their moment of death, the way that it like as the star or whatever is in the radiation, it's exploding and hitting them and like frying them. We kind of get their last thoughts, and hers is just like she had betrayed Oleg, so she realizes at that moment like, oh, he knows I betrayed him. I'm dying.
And then this was all his plan that I just fell into.
And then the other guys who was like too loyal to Exar Kun, as he gets obliterated, he's just like, I don't understand why, and that's how he dies. And I'm like, oh man,
yeah,
oof.
I know, that was so cool. Yeah, that's Kratos, the lion guy.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't remember their names.
No, I couldn't either. I have them pulled up here, so I don't have these names memorized at all. But yeah, that you're so right. Like that was cool. He's just like, what did I do? Oh well, he just doesn't care about you. That's all you did.
It's like, dude, you did not get it, man. You fell off so hard. Oh, it's like him of all of them. I don't know why I feel so bad for.
He just got caught up in it, man. I mean, wasn't he one of the guys who just was standing there when Exar Kun shattered the crystal and he got stabbed with one of the dark side crystals and just turned bad?
I think he's the only one actually that doesn't have the crystals like go inside of him and turn him bad. And when asked about it, I think Exar Kun's like, no, you have like a higher role to play with me, which I guess was just dying here.
Yeah,
but that's what Exar Kun was doing, making him feel good, making him feel like he had a purpose, making him feel like he was gonna be greater than what he was. He sold him a false promise, and it killed him.
Damn, I know. I mean, that's powerful stuff.
This is good, man. Right. This is good. I like this comic.
Me too. Most of our little side characters die here. A lot of people die, except for just the main, like Nomi and Ulic live.
Did Oss die? The scarecrow guy that got corrupted into
Willem?
Yeah, who turns into like this buff stone looking thing almost.
I believe he lives actually.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong about that. There's a lot of characters to keep track of, but
which, by the way, to give credit to Veach, rightfully so. Also, a lot of the seeds that he planted in some of the early stuff, it really does like start to pay off here.
Yes, dude. Naga Sadow's weapons that were introduced. I mean, we were just talking about Alima's death, but it was because she was using the weapons that can like pull the core out of stars and like radiate people.
Yeah,
and we saw like 2 or 3 miniseries ago, Exar Kun watching the holocron of Naga Sadow doing that, and it comes back around and kills some main characters in a pretty crazy way.
Which, by the way, the idea of that weapon is really awesome too. I think it's super cool.
Oh yeah,
even like on Master Thawne's planet, the lake and all that stuff, where he had like put all the dark force energy into or drove them off back into that lake or whatever, and that's why it was like, oh, that lake's dangerous and whatnot. Even that like stuff comes back when Oss tries to like capitalize on it to kill him.
You're right.
I was like, man,
I forgot about that. That's cool.
And I'm sure there's tons of stuff that like I didn't even register that was set up earlier.
Oh yeah, and they have to evacuate Ossus because of this star, radiation thing that's going to cause a chain reaction of an explosion of 10 suns and like wipe out the whole Earth. And then that's cool. That makes a little bit of Dark Empire 2 a little bit cooler when they go to Ossus and Luke is like, there's ruins of a Jedi library here. Hopefully I can find some ancient artifacts if they weren't all destroyed and stuff. Like, I don't know. That's fun.
Man, yeah, dude. Even in fiction, I get so like mad at characters that are like, yeah, let's destroy these ancient artifacts and stuff, or like the ancient. I'm like, come on, dude. Exar Kun sucks.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit of a side thing, but we do have our introduction of Mandalorian warriors here. We have Mandalore the Indomitable is the leader of some Mandalorian warriors. These are just some guys who love conquest and love war, and that's really like what their motivation is.
Pick the wrong
Uh,
side.
mm-hmm. Ulick and Mandalore, have a fight, a really cool duel. Very nice art in that duel, and yeah, it's awesome. And he wins and kind of wins the respect of the Mandalorians and has them on his side. They don't do too much other than just be cool looking and be a force for the bad guys here, but
Yeah, even when they need to save Ulick, he has to go to Exar Kun for help also.
yeah, you're right.
But he's loyal. He's loyal.
And then like what I think is cool though conceptually, like the Mandalorians don't really do that much through this, but the other part of the epilogue that I mentioned, like, well, I guess it's cool that the Beast Riders of Duxon and like all those guys from the first miniseries, the Princess and the Beast Rider Prince and all those guys come back to like fight the Mandalorians on Duxon and everything. Like that
Yeah.
was kind of satisfying for a conclusion. But anyway, there's some Mandalorians on Duxon and they find the dead body of Mandalore and they take his helmet and it's like, oh, I'm the new Mandalore. And it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, so these will be kind of like these faceless guys that just like pass on the tradition and like the strongest survives and will be the leader and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it was interesting to me to see these like ancient Mandalorians just because I also had like the one other Star Wars thing that I've randomly seen was season 1 of The Mandalorian. So,
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the Mandalorian lore will certainly evolve, and the Mandalore will evolve and get more fleshed out as we go on. And of course, a lot of it gets retconned by Disney and changed again and everything. But uh, I don't know. I've always been interested in what the relationship between like Boba Fett and the Mandalorians and their kind of culture and everything is pretty fascinating. So we will certainly see a good bit more of it going further. I guess my point was obviously some things are different, but it's fun to see like the connective tissue between even modern stuff like The Mandalorian.
sure, yeah.
And this.
Also, before I forget, I did want to quickly mention, I just think it's super funny that, man, what is the brother's name again? Cal?
Okay.
K. Yeah, K. I know I mentioned before when K first got his arm chopped off, like again in that same issue when he replaces his arm with the mechanical arm, that mechanical arm then gets chopped off, and I'm just like, man, this dude's arm's getting chopped off all the time. And then when Ulick kills him, before he does, he chops off that mechanical arm, and I'm like, oh,
I know.
it's the same arm. This dude was gonna lose that arm. No, it was like a certainty because he's so bad at defending that one arm. He's so bad at it.
You're right, dude. And I think he even says something like, my arm again. Something like that.
It's really funny.
Yeah, he's horrible at keeping that arm on. Any final Tales of the Jedi thoughts before we move on? I don't want to just brush it away so quickly because I feel like, man, this was kind of something special here.
It's really great. There's a lot of good stuff in it too, and I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff that we didn't really mention, but let that be an invitation for anyone listening to go ahead and read this themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we did spoil the whole plot of it, but like you've said, I feel like comics are often more about like the actual page-to-page experience rather than the plot. Because sometimes comics can have a cool, like you read the Wikipedia entry of it, like, oh, that sounds cool, and then you read it and it's like absolutely a nightmare to get through.
Yeah.
But these are really good.
Yeah, go read this.
Congratulations to Kevin J. Anderson and Tom Veitch. I'm excited to read the next Tales of the Jedi series.
And long live Master Thrawn. Who's gonna take my man out?
Hey, I don't know. That's a good question. I genuinely don't know. So Tom or Kevin J. Anderson does write the um next three Tales of the Jedi series.
Yes, let's go.
So he has we've got Tales of the Jedi, The Golden Age of the Sith. That one definitely goes back in time. We've got Tales of the Jedi, The Fall of the Sith, and Tales of the Jedi Redemption. So I definitely have read Golden Age and Fall of the Sith. I don't remember what Redemption is off the top of my head, so that'll be exciting.
Okay, yeah, cool. Dude, if I was a student on the light side at the point when this happened, I'm gonna be so traumatized against ever being a Jedi Master.
Seriously, because like all those masters probably felt pretty good about how they were training their guys.
Yeah, and there's multiple moments like this throughout the book of them just being like, it makes me so sad. Them just being like, oh God, I failed my student. It's never really like even throwing blame at the students. It's just like, how did I fail them so heavily that we've ended up here?
I it is really sad and it always it's like the most heartbreaking parts of like Obi-Wan's character and everything too. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's similar to like a parent
I hope we.
child
I guess I
relationship.
don't know if there is like future stuff with these characters, like you said, but if there was, I would hope that at least we get a couple people or like one person who maybe has a perspective like that, because I think it'd be really interesting to like explore a little bit.
Yeah, to be one of the like maybe Os Willem or something is like, no, I'm not taking a Padawan. I was brainwashed to kill my master, and luckily it didn't happen, but like it could have.
Too weak, can't take down
Nah,
Thawne.
I just said it could have, and that sounded wrong in my mouth. Oh. Well, real quick, we'll go over Rebel Assault 2, The Hidden Empire. Um, as is obvious from the title, and like we said, this is a sequel to Rebel Assault. Um, this is a game for the PC and the PlayStation 1. Um, what did you just like watch a video of this or
Yeah, I watched a full playthrough.
oh nice, nice.
Dude, the
So
cutscenes were awesome.
yeah, I agree. This one has yeah, a lot of like live action footage mixed in with 3D rendered things.
I know it kept tricking my brain a little bit because I'd be like, wait, these are actors. And then I'd be like, no, wait, it's actually just like modeling or something. And then I was like, no, wait, this is just footage.
I really like the on foot first person level. So similar to the first game, this is made up of a couple different kinds of levels. You've got a third person like cover on rails shooting section. You've got ship piloting through narrow corridors section. You've got one like first person shooting, stuff like that. It's mostly like an on rails shooter, a little bit of like flight things going on. And on the levels where it is a third person and you're behind cover and you go around shoot stormtroopers, like the little in between things where you're just like running between rooms and then you run up into the cover and then it goes into the level, like that's really charming and fun.
How so this is an aspect that I was not able to get a feel for. The controls for this one are how do they feel in comparison to the last game?
Um, Still pretty janky. I did use the mouse for the whole thing. At first, I was like, okay, I'll use the mouse on the shooting levels and then the joystick on the piloting the ship levels. But after a little bit, I got way better at flying the ships with the mouse too, and it was still very hard. Um, there are some levels where you're flying like a TIE fighter through a trench and then like a speeder bike through the forest. And oh my, I mean, these are truly some of the hardest like video game levels I had to beat. And I mean, they're completely just like trial and error, having to get a feel for like where these undetectable hitboxes really are. Like, uh, I don't know. I mean, I was white knuckling it toward the end of the levels, like heart rate. And I tried to make I thought I was recording all of this footage and was going to make a video of it, but about 2.5 hours of the footage got corrupted somehow. And so I'm not going to make a video about it anymore.
Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. But yeah, it's like a cute little game.
Yeah, then what is the plot again? It's the Empire's got their hidden mining facility because they're building a new weapon or something.
They're making a new TIE fighter. It's a stealth version called the Phantom, and it's got like 3 wings on it, and it can go invisible. And we blow up the manufacturing plant.
Yeah, okay. I just remember like them talking about the ore. There was a cutscene where it's like, we need to get the iridium ore or whatever it was called. I was also very happy to see Vader.
Yeah, that was cool. Live action Vader.
When he's like, I would look forward to witnessing our victory.
This is our first live action Vader since Return of the Jedi.
Oh, yeah, that's weird. Oh, man, you say first, so there's going to be more?
No, this is our last live action Vader, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, I guess I know he's in the prequels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I just meant like further on.
Yeah, well, this is our first live action anything, I guess, other than the Ewok movies since Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, man, we're not going to be going back into live action for a while now, are we?
Well, we're getting close. We're getting close.
Oh, yeah?
To the prequels here.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this game other than I'm angry that I God, my footage corrupted. Sorry.
No, that sucks. I will say though, the game certainly looks like a big labor of love that you maybe necessarily don't see in every game that they're putting out nowadays.
Absolutely, especially like the filming and everything, like, and they used the actual sets, or the actual props from the original trilogy. I mean, and they got like the real Darth Vader costume from the movie, and they got to use all that stuff. So that's fun.
I like the one guy on like the distress call that they're at first trying to like break out the message, and then they finally do. I forget like why his ship is being attacked or whatever, but he just like is like on the screen and be like, they're trying to get the ore, the mining facility, and then he just gets pulled off the screen like very goofily, and he just goes, ah.
Yeah, it's super campy and charming, like just kind of slightly low budgety looking Star Wars stuff, but it works for a video game.
I was gonna say that's super fun for a game.
I agree. Yeah, it's somewhat fun to play, but yeah.
There was one level, right? I'm thinking of the right game, I hope. There was one level where you get to fly the Millennium Falcon, right? Or like the model.
Yes, it's the same Corellian transport. Yeah, you do get to like fly it through a tunnel. That was the first of the extremely difficult levels. It was going pretty smooth until I got there, and then probably 25, 30 tries to get that one done.
Nice. Well, just sort of goes to show if there's ever a real life scenario where one of us needed to fly the Millennium Falcon, it's not going to be you.
Or you could say, now I have the experience to where I would handle it under pressure well.
Okay, well, we could also say that maybe you've already had your turn, and then it's someone else's turn to fly the Millennium Falcon.
Okay, you can fly it. If and when we get in that situation, I'm going to let you fly it, man.
Yeah, well, I think it could be any day now, okay?
All right. Well, I don't know. Is that a little hint for maybe some surprise when you get back?
Yeah, is it?
You bought the Millennium Falcon?
Dude, I bought you a life-size Millennium Falcon model for Christmas. And you got me a t-shirt?
Sorry, man. I really appreciate that, though.
No, it's all love. It's all love. It's all love.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm getting too goofy here, man.
Well, you want to wrap it up?
Okay, actually, can I tell you something really funny about Star Wars?
Please.
You know who Bashar is? This is
Hmm.
not a Star Wars character, to be clarify. He's like a
Mm,
spiritual mystic guru guy.
Um, no. Is it that the Syria rebels burned tomb of Bashar al-Assad's father, Hafez?
No, it's not that. He's basically he's a real person who says he channels aliens who are like first contact specialists, and he does events basically, and he answers people's questions as the alien that he's channeled. It's I highly recommend you go check it out. Actually, he's a charlatan, but it also is like an impeccable performance. He's a great performer.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah, he's just like he's a guy that does a bunch of these. He does events, he writes books on stuff on these aliens. He's like he's it's I actually really enjoy them because I'm like, "Oh my god, the amount of like science fiction this man has created." Like it is bad that he's saying it like this is real. But also is all his messages are like you should look at within yourself and like find happiness and your own purpose and be a good person in the world. Oh, that's what the aliens tell me to tell you. And I'm like, oh,
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. It's like it's one way to get that message out, I guess.
yeah,
Uh,
I guess as long as he's not being like evil about it, then who cares?
yeah, and I saw this. Now I don't want to like endorse the man because I've not looked into him too much. I get him in
No,
TikTok.
you agree with all of his beliefs, and we're not going to find anything about him that's bad.
He did get asked like if the real alien world, because he also like Bashar the alien lives in all of time, so he lives in the past, present, and future. So he
Mm.
knows all about the past of space and the future of space. And he was saying, for your knowledge, we're lucky because uh, a long time ago, ancient space stuff. That's when the universe was more like Star Wars, is what he says. And people were fighting and shooting and everything, and there were all these wars. But then he was like, today, space is more like Star Trek, and so and I don't know too much about Star Trek, but I guess he's saying it's more like the utopia, the space utopia. But us Earthlings aren't ready for it yet. But soon, he says
Right,
2027, so we'll see.
Okay, well, I guess we'll find out then. It would be awesome if like he's just correct about everything and we all look very foolish.
Dude, if he's genuinely a human channeling a first contact specialist alien, that's sick. I want to be a first contact specialist. That's an awesome future job.
Yeah, that's essentially just like a prophet. Um yeah.
Okay, let's not.
Well, I'm heralding him as a true prophet, I think. And Ryan endorses all his beliefs, and I will definitely go look this up.
Well, just sharing some weird Star Wars connection that I saw in something.
That's really funny. That's funny that he would like name drop Star Wars and Star Trek.
That's why I think it's like it's so obvious this is just a dude who's also really into this shit, you know?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like this thing that everybody can like have a cultural reference point to. That's funny. All right, well, next time on the Beggars Canyon Boys, we got a big episode coming up next. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is episode 19 will be the Shadows of the Empire episode. And Shadows of the Empire, I mean, we'll talk about it a lot more on the actual episode, but just to give a little tease, it's a multimedia event, and the mission statement, I guess, was to create all the material, all the pre-production material that you would create for a movie, such as concept art, marketing things, toys, video games, comic book tie-in, even an orchestral score, but not actually make the movie itself. So they kind of treated this like it was some like lost movie, and it takes place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. They made a video game, they made a novel, they made a miniseries, they made an album of orchestral music to go along with it. They made an interactive CD-ROM that would play the music in conjunction with concept art. that would go through the story in sync with the music. I mean, they went all out for this thing. There were toys. Yeah, so it was a big push
Wait,
from.
that's super cool. How much of that have you consumed before?
I have pretty much all of it except for the novel, which I don't know if I'll finish it before we record next, but I am going to start reading it here. And yeah, I'm playing the video game again right now. I did play it when I was a kid too, a little bit, but um, I have read the comics and stuff and listened to the album too.
Huh. Okay. I'm excited to check this out. You just sold me on it, man. That's a cool concept.
It's pretty interesting, and it's kind of, yeah, it's between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, filling in some blank spaces during that time.
I like that we're like kind of we're getting into really good Star Wars stuff again. I feel we haven't we're out of the doldrums where we were for a while.
Absolutely. I mean, comparing this to like the Droids cartoon,
Yeah. Oh,
this
this
is
is
a
a lot
lot
more
more
exciting.
exciting.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to get to it. Yeah, so we have it on the list, but to specifically, we we'll cover the novel. I mean, obviously, no pressure to read a novel, but I will at least read some of it, and we can talk about it. We'll cover the 6-issue miniseries, and then there were 2 little one-off issues that were sort of tie-ins to it: Battle of the Bounty Hunters and Star Wars Shadow Stalker. Star Wars Shadow Stalker. And then, yeah, the video game, Shadows of the Empire. There's a N64 game. Um, and
Okay,
it's
I've got
pretty
my
fun.
N64 over here. I'll try to grab a copy.
Hell yeah. I think it's pretty cheap. But all right, it was nice talking to you today, Ryan, as always, about Star Wars. Thanks for listening. I'm excited to move on to the next stuff in the future. And I hope everyone has a good day.
Womp rat.